water, unique in every way.
All set for the Joy News National Dialogue on Defending Media Freedom ahead of the December polls. Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We're on Love 99.5 FM. We're on myjoyonline.com live in all 16 regions. We are on Radio Max in Takrady, ATL FM in Cape Coast. We're on Radio Freed in Nandom, live on X Spaces on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. This afternoon, Ghana's public debt hit 716 billion cedis as government blames it on the cedi depreciation.
Including cedi depreciation, disbursement from multilateral institutions, and domestic financing of the budget.
Also, Minority on Parliament's Finance Committee challenges 500 million request from the contingency fund to mitigate the impact of dry spells in 8 regions of the country.
The information around it is so sketchy and there's no transparency in respect of the request of the 500. In this case, nobody can support this kind of disbursement unless there's enough information to justify the request for the 500 million.
We have more as economists warns budget cuts to roads and agric ministries could hamper operations.
For the Ministry of Agriculture, it may hinder some programs in line of productivity. The Road Ministry also pointing to the fact that some road projects may be delayed.
Also, Roads Minister explains the road tolls are coming back due to the poor performance of the e-levy, which he attributes to bastardization by the section of the public.
At the time of those happening, government had presented revenue measure e-levy, and the calculations and everything, e-levy, all things being equal, was going to give us a lot of money if it was not opposed.
Details as the minority rejects claims they are to blame for the poor performance of the e-levy.
Let the record reflect that you didn't get your projections right. Your government came up with all kinds of wild projections about what you thought you will make. You even thought that because of e-levy, we wouldn't need to go to the IMF.
We have sports.
Black Stars coach Otuado will announce the squad list of players invited for the World Cup qualifier against Angola in a matter of minutes.
And much later, the Ghana Journalists Association pledges zero tolerance for media attacks in the lead up to the polls as we get ready for the Joy News National Dialogue on Media Freedom later today.
I also want to warn those who attack the media that the GJ will not tolerate on any day any attack on journalists leading up to the elections.
That's and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Emefa Apawu. Please stay on for details. Many thanks for your company. And the Minority on Parliament's Finance Committee is this afternoon challenging the Finance Minister's request for 500 million cedis from the contingency fund to combat the severe drought ravaging 8 regions. With over 900,000 farmers' livelihoods and national food security at stake, the Agric Ministry has already implemented emergency measures, including a grain export ban. However, the minority questions the timing and rationale behind the fund's request, as well as the decision to slash the budgets of the Agric and road ministries to generate over 8 billion cedis. Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Stephen Amoah has been justifying the request.
1 billion from Ministry of Agri's budget, 200 million from Ghana Cares, and they are taking 500 from the contingency. And then I think they will try to give us something to mitigate on what is happening. And also roads, Ministry of Roads, are taking 500 million for now at least, whilst we plan the rest. As early as possible. I'll call it speed and accuracy. We'll try to cooperate and help everyone to get out of this situation.
However, the minority on the Finance Committee is raising concerns about the Finance Minister's request. Deputy Ranking Member and MP for Bia East, Richard Champong, is questioning the timing of the request and demands transparency on how the 500 million cedis will be utilized.
But the question is, just go to the 2023 budget. The ministry told us that they are importing a drought-resilient seeds to deal with this very issue that we are talking of. So the question is, what happened to those seeds that they procure? Did they give those seeds to the farmers? If they did, why is it that they are now complaining about drought in the 5 northern regions? So meaning there's no clarity in respect of what the minister is calling on us to do. Another issue is many people have suffered sin, like the spillage of the Bagui Dam. People have lost their farmlands, they've lost their investment, and the rest. What are we doing to also save that situation? Are we going to also add these people to the list that they are going to bring to Parliament, or how are they going to manage it? So the information around it is so sketchy, and there's no transparency in respect of the request of the 500 million. So they have to provide us with a list. We'll get to know the details, if indeed those people qualify for this kind of support. Because they are saying they are going to give them tools, they are going to give them farm input and cash transfer. That's what the problem is.
Meanwhile, economist Professor Williams Kwesi Pepe of the Andrews University in the U.S. believes the finance minister's request is justified. However, he expresses concern that reducing the budget of agric and roads ministries could negatively impact the operations, potentially delaying projects.
Hello, good morning.
My apologies for that. I'll bring you that particular sound shortly here on the Midday News. Well, there's a latest on this particular subject, and the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has been addressing the media on this particular issue.
Government has put in place some emergency measures as a result of this to mitigate the impact of the spells on livelihoods and on the economy in general, and to prevent food shortage in the country. We are working hard to ensure that this near drought condition does not disrupt the country's IMF supported program. Government is implementing the following interventions to avert the crisis and mitigate the impact of the crisis on the people and on the economy. A temporary ban on exports of selected grains, including maize, rice, and soya bean. Government has put in place an effective governance structure to ensure we address this situation to minimize its impact on the people of Ghana and on the economy, and to ensure that there is accountability of all the resources that will be channeled towards addressing this crisis. Number one, His Excellency the President has tasked the ministers for Food and Agriculture and for Finance to oversee the implementation of measures to address the situation. And number two, a technical task force with membership drawn from the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and development partners has been constituted to monitor the mobilization and use of resources for the implementation of the programmed intervention as part of measures to ensure transparency and accountability. Government also continues to invest significantly in the development of irrigation facilities, small earth dams, and boreholes in the northern, upper west, upper east, and eastern regions.
That's Finance Minister Mohamed Amin Adam. Well, he's been updating us on the cocoa syndicated loans, amongst others. But I'll take you live to that particular monthly update, that press conference currently underway. And the Agric Minister is also giving some updates.
Especially farmers farmers don't export their crops to out of town. Farmers don't do that. 99.99% of farmers don't export their produce outside. It is the aggregators. It is the aggregators, those who aggregate the produce. They are the ones that export the crops, not the farmers. Okay, so the idea here is that there's really not much grains in the system anyway. Okay, so the little that we have, let's protect it for the benefit of Ghanaians. And we are not saying that if you're a farmer and you have grains, now you don't have anywhere to sell it, come and sell it to government for cheap. That is not what we're saying. There's a market price. When we announced the ban, we did say that if you have any grain and you want to sell, government, Ministry of Agriculture, is one of the avenues that you can sell. But look, we shouldn't have a challenge because there's really not much grains in the system. If a farmer brings their grains to the market, they will have quick buyers to pick them up. But if really there are no buyers, Ministry of Agriculture is here to pick it up and redistribute, and it will be at a fair market price.
That's the Agric Minister Brian Champon there at the press conference that is currently underway at the Ministry of Finance, providing some clarity on the ban on export of grains. Well, the Finance Minister has also been talking about the cocoa syndicated loans.
After Ghana successfully concludes the upcoming third review of program implementation, an expected $300 million from the World Bank after the World Bank Development Policy Operation 2 is approved, and the successful completion of the external debt restructuring. I want to take this opportunity to clarify that as part of measures to improve the financial viability of cocoa board, government for the 2024-25 crop season will be sourcing funds through the syndication process and other alternative sources.
Ghana's public debt, he also says, has risen to 716 billion cedis. Government is blaming it on the cedi depreciation and other factors.
I am pleased to provide an update on Ghana's public debt developments. As of July 31st, 2024, Ghana's provisional nominal central government debt stood at 761.1 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to $51.1 billion US dollars. This represents a nominal increase from the previous amount of 587.7 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to $53.5 billion. The increase in cedi terms and the decrease in US dollar terms is attributed to a combination of factors, including cedi depreciation, disbursement from multilateral institutions, and domestic financing of the budget. Now let me provide updates on the external debt restructuring program. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to officially launch our exchange offer in the coming days, marking a critical step in our external debt restructuring journey. The exchange offer reflects the terms agreed in principle with our bondholders on 24th June this year, including important concessions which the bondholders made to Ghana, ensuring a fair burden sharing between our domestic, official, and commercial external creditors.
That's the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. Now, the Minister for Roads and Highways, Francis Asensubwachi, says road tolls are returning because the e-levy has not performed as expected by the government. It will be recalled that government cancelled the collection of road tolls in 2021 when it was introducing the e-levy, as it expected the tax handle to raise up to 6.9 billion cedis annually. However, the tax has not performed well, forcing the government to reintroduce the road tolls. Answering questions before the Assurance Committee of Parliament, Francis Asensubwachi explained that the tax performed poorly because it was bastardized, promising, however, that when the road tolls return, it will be modding and will not cause congestion.
At the time of those happening, government had presented a revenue measure introducing e-levy, and per the calculations and everything, e-levy, all things being equal, was going to give us a lot of money if it was not opposed and bastardized and making it unpopular, which when it was passed, eventually, it didn't yield the results that we wanted. But it was going to make a lot of money. And because we wanted to also bring some relief with that introduction of that tax revenue measure, there was the thinking that let us bring some relief to the people. But the money that at that time we were getting from road toll was barely 70-something million a year. Yet it was creating a lot of congestions at the booth, which was bringing creating a lot of inconveniences to road users and all that. So the idea was in giving a lot of giving relief to the people, suspend it, and whenever it has to be reintroduced, it has to be reintroduced in a different system at all, modernized, so that first of all there will not be congestion.
But Chairman of the Assurance Committee, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, rejected the claims that they are in the minority are to blame for the poor performance of the e-levy.
Let the record reflect that you didn't get your projections right. Your government came up with all kinds of wild projections about what you thought you will make. You even thought that because of e-levy, we wouldn't need to go to the IMF. So you got your projections wrong. We are not in cabinet. We are not invited to cabinet. You did your own projections. You got your projections wrong. So please, don't. When you were saying you get 6.6 billion annually and all of that, we don't know where you got those figures from and who did those analyses for you. So please leave us out. We are not to be blamed.
Meanwhile, the Roads Ministry has revealed it is currently indebted to road contractors to the tune of 9 billion cedis and urged Parliament to consider uncapping the road fund to take care of these bills.
The last from our records used to be around 9.2 billion.
So what's the cutoff period? That is is it as at March, as at June, as at May?
Okay, my understanding is that as at June 2024, 4.8 from the road fund indebtedness, and the remainder was GOG indebtedness. But this has come down from a high earlier on of almost 12 or 14 billion earlier. So some significant payment has been made over the period.
Will you encourage this committee in our report to plenary to recommend to the capping be lifted?
Honorable Chair, we have always, the Honorable Minister has always raised it up at the Roads and Transport Committee level. Even at previously the Finance Committee, we had always made the point that it's important to take out the cap on the road fund so that we'll have a lot more resources for our contractors.
That's Alhaji Abbas Awolu, who is the Chief Director of the Roads Ministry there, answering questions before the Assurance Committee. We'll stay a while longer there. And the Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, has been assuring that government is working hard to complete some resettlement homes for victims of the Akonsombo Dam spillage.
So the 1,010 is what we have financial clearance for to start. As I mentioned, we've already done 2 batches. The first is the 115. That one already work is commenced on the ground. And then we have the 1,010, which we've worked through the processes and gotten financial clearance for. As I'm speaking to you before now, we are before Cabinet asking for approval for further funding so that the ones like Shayo Sudoku, etc., that are not included in the first 2, we can get approval and clearance to be able to commence as well.
Works and Housing Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah. Now it's finally here. The Joy News National Dialogue on Media Freedom will get underway later today at the Nat Hall as stakeholders gather to defend media freedom. Now with 100 days to go before the December 7 polls, it's become even more critical to safeguard the media as part of the collective effort to ensure transparent elections. Ghana, once a beacon of press freedom in Africa, has experienced a notable decline in media freedom in recent years. Well, this decline is reflected in the World Press Freedom Index, where Ghana has slipped from the 30th position in 2021 to the 62nd position in 2023. The dialogue is under the theme Defend Media Freedom. Well, ahead of the gathering, the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Albert Kwabena Jumfour, has been emphasizing the need for the media to be responsible, even as Ghana unites later today to defend our freedom.
The GJ believes that freedom of expression does not only mean allowing people to speak, but also ensuring responsibility, knowing there is a need to protect the very space used for free speech. Disinformation and polarizing narratives are particularly troubling because they serve as the tools of weaponizing information. And the earlier we confront this danger, the better.
That's Albert Kwabena Jumfour there, and we're getting ready for later today. But is the Ghanaian media free to undertake its work? There's more in this report.
Journalism in Ghana has a proud history. From the early days of independence to the modern era, journalists have played a crucial role in exposing corruption, championing human rights, and informing the public. But in recent years, this role has become increasingly dangerous. A troubling wave of violence and intimidation has targeted those who dare to hold power to account.
Two journalists and a driver of Lava Firm, a subsidiary of the Multimedia Group Limited, have been attacked by purported watchmen of the Sewa Regional Hospital in the region.
Management of City FM City TV has petitioned the National Media Commission over the alleged brutalization of one of its journalists, Caleb Kuda, in the custody of national security.
A journalist with Sky Media Group at Takade in the Western region was on Tuesday severely beaten after he sought to find out why a policeman who was sitting on a motorbike had no crash helmet.
Since 2012, the number of journalists who have faced abuse, threats and even death has risen sharply. In March 2018, Latif Idrisu, a journalist with Joy News, was brutally assaulted by police officers outside the headquarters of the Ghana Police Service in Accra while covering a protest. He sustained severe injuries, including a fractured skull. Until date, the perpetrators have not been found.
They pushed me in there and they joined and beat me up with sticks, with their legs, with the back of the guns hitting my. Yesterday I asked him to take a shot of that. They hit me with the back of the gun about 3 times at the back of my head here. They hit me with sticks in my rib.
On January 16, 2019, investigative journalist Ahmed Hussein Swali was shot and killed by unidentified assailants in Accra. He was part of the Tiger IPI team led by Anas Arimiyao Anas, which had exposed corruption in Ghana football. The assassination sent shockwaves through the media community, leading to fears about the safety of investigative journalists in Ghana. In 2019, Edward Aditi, a Star FM journalist, was threatened after exposing a corruption scandal involving a judge. Following the publication of his investigation, he received threats and his safety was compromised. In May 2021, Caleb Kuda, a journalist with City FM and City TV, was arrested and allegedly assaulted by national security operatives for filming abandoned state vehicles. His colleague Zoe Abubedi was also detained for receiving the footage. In July 2021, Erastus Asaredonko, a journalist with Love FM, was threatened with harm by a member of parliament after his testimony before the committee investigating the Ejura disturbances where 2 people were killed during a protest. The threat against Erastus drew attention to the risk journalists face when reporting on politically sensitive issues. Many of these attacks go unpunished, creating a culture of impunity that emboldens those who wish to silence the press. The future of journalism in Ghana depends on our ability to protect those who seek the truth. As new generations of reporters step onto the field, they must do so with the confidence that their safety will be guarded and their voices will not be silenced. For those who risk their lives in the pursuit of truth, we owe them nothing less than our full support and protection. The fight for press freedom continues today, tomorrow, and always.
And that's a report that sets the tone for later today, the Joy News National Dialogue on Defending Media Freedom. The theme is Defending Media Freedom, and head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, joins me on the line with more on this. Let's talk about the rationale for this particular dialogue and what to expect later today.
So obviously, if you look at the World Press Freedom Index, we've dropped quite significantly from 2021, where we were, in terms of ranking, we're 30th. We've dropped to 62nd by 2023. That is alarming because we consider the 32-point drop in the ranking. And if you also look at the School of Communication Studies' own report that shows that some 40% of journalists have said that in the line of duty they have suffered attack before, it brings the issue in sharp focus. Now, we are talking about these issues about assault at a time when we don't even have elections. But we now know that as you approach elections, these attacks and abuse increase exponentially. And this is the right time to have this conversation, create the awareness, and get the public involved in protecting media freedom. And we're in this conversation this afternoon at 4 to 7. Everybody else needs to be part of this. You can tweet with the hashtag Defend Media Freedom GH. It's going to be live across all our networks, Joy News, Joy FM, social media platforms. And we expect some very important speakers. The IGP will be there. And for, the FP Dampari himself, it's important because under his watch, we haven't seen police abusing or attacking journalists. And he will want to hear what has changed, what has he done differently, and can that be the best practice going for other institutions, for example? That will be important. We'll hear from the NMC, and other stakeholders who will be there with us, including the diplomatic community, actually, and the Electoral Commission.
That's head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, there, telling us what to expect later today at the Nat Hall at 4 p.m. It will be live here on Joy 99.7 FM, also on myjoyonline.com and the Joy News channel. You don't want to miss it. Hashtag Defend Media Freedom GH. And that's how we take a quick break here on the Midday News, live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi, on Love 99.5 FM, made possible by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Please do stay with us. We're right back.
Way more chances to play with Betway. Every week, you have the choice to pick your prize, from payout boosts to cashback, all so you can make the perfect sports bet. Plus, you also stand a chance to choose your own prize, from vouchers to electronics and the grand prize of an airline ticket. All this exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly. Betway. Get way more.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a Petrosol station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
The luckiest star 712 hash. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere for everyone.
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the car cashier. Prizes are cashier in the community draw, or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's do sports. Victor, what do we have?
Black Stars coach Otuado has named his squad list of players for the 2025 Cup of Nations qualifiers against Mali and Niger. Andre Ayew remains not invited into the team, but there are 4 new players who are returning to the squad. Kingsley Schindler, Ashimere Majid is back in the team. Iñaki Williams, who missed the previous 2 matches, and Joseph Pentel have all returned to the team. Thomas Partey and Mohamed Kudus will be leading the Black Stars team.
Thank you very much, Victor. Let's get into the election headquarters now. It's made possible by Petrosol Platinum Energies, energizing dreams, clean fuel in full quantity. CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, AICP and CIMA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, Chobox Technologies, a convenience service, Youth Bridge Foundation, Bridging Gaps for Positive Youth Development, and this afternoon, onion sellers relocated from Agbogloshia to Ajin Kotoku are raising the alarm over the impact of the current exchange rate on their business. The accused accused the government of neglect, highlighting issues such as poor road conditions and inadequate infrastructure in their new location. Speaking during the NDC flag bearer John Mahama's Greater Accra Regional Tour at Amasaman constituency, a representative of the Ajin Kotoku Onion Sellers Association talked about this struggle. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
Nato abapa enumpo MPP for the yenjum yesi hwewa sitinem nato aba.
NDC flag bearer John Mahama singing one of the old campaign songs of the NPP. The lyrics urged voters to consider their circumstances and cast a wise ballot. John Mahama is similarly urging voters to vote based on their current circumstances. During his tour of the Amasaman constituency, some onion sellers who were relocated to Ajin Kutuku from the Abubushi market raised concerns about the exchange rate and how it is affecting their business.
Negligence, everything is spoiled. Onion, we have neglected. They come and bring us to Ajin Kutuku and dump us. All the promises, toilet facilities, all the promises. Our mosques, we have about 5 mosques at Apawu. They break all the 5 mosques, including the central mosques. They promised to build all the 5 mosques, including the central mosques at Ajin Kotoku here, but nothing has happened. The exchange rate to go and bring a bag of onion to Accra here is not a small job. The exchange rate is getting to safer. Is now 26 Ghana cedis.
Well, that's the situation at the Ajin Kotoku onion sellers. Well, we've been also hearing from the NDC flag bearer John Mahama's concern about the provisional voters register in yesterday during the tour. But the Electoral Commission has been responding, saying the 2024 voters register is robust and credible. The EC says the rationale for exhibiting the provisional voters register is to correct errors and omissions, and that it is only after all identified issues are corrected that the final register is printed for the elections, and that's been the situation since 1992. They'll be holding a press conference later today on it. M&J, Jackie.
Yes,
Emefa. What are people talking about, Jackie?
Well, hashtag Defend Media Freedom is in the conversations on social media. People have been sharing their thoughts on it, on how the media can best serve them in making decisions in the upcoming elections
Ahead
in December.
Yes,
at 4 p.m. And also, it's New Music Day. There's new music. RJ featured Black Sherif on a new music which has got a lot of people talking. The title is Jesus Christ 2.
Hey.
An interesting one there.
Let's end with that. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Make sure you join us later today for the Joy News dialogue on defending media freedom. I am Emefa Apawu. Living Word with Pastor Mensah Otebo is up next. Finding Christ in the right place at the right time. You want to stay for that.
Yes, I do.